If you're planning a vacation to the United States, you might want to think again. The U.S. has long been romanticized as a place of freedom and excitement. Visitors come for Broadway, the Grand Canyon, Silicon Valley, and Southern charm. But for many, especially in 2025, that dream now ends at the airport gate. Since early 2025, the Trump administration has ramped up its border enforcement policies. These changes affect not only undocumented immigrants, but tourists, students, business travelers, and even spouses of American citizens. On May 18, 2025, Nicolle Saroukos, a 29-year-old Australian woman, flew to Hawaii with her mother to visit her husband, an active-duty U.S. Army lieutenant. Instead of being welcomed, she was detained, searched, and deported. And her mother, she was told to shut up and get to the back of the line.
Last Sunday, 25-year-old Nicolle Saroukos was looking forward to a 3-week vacation in Honolulu with her mom.
That's where my mother and father had their honeymoon, so it held a very sentimental place in her heart.
It was Saroukos' third visit to see her husband Matt, a U.S. Army lieutenant stationed on Oahu. The newlyweds married last December. She said she hadn't had issues before, but this time, U.S. border officials at Honolulu Airport flagged her for additional screening.
He went from completely composed to just yelling at the top of his lungs, telling my mother to go stand at the back of the line and to, excuse my language, shut up.
Saroukos said officials conducted a body cavity search, walked her through the airport in handcuffs, and drove her to the federal detention center.
Nicolle never even got to see her husband. She's not alone. Legal travelers from friendly nations are being refused entry with no explanation. Some are deported, and others are held in ICE facilities for days. Numerous international travelers are routinely subjected to secondary screening with cases of denied entry for vague or undisclosed security reasons. These are not hypotheticals. These are real people, students, professors, and peaceful travelers being treated like threats in a system that no longer respects due process or reason. Under U.S. law, American citizens cannot be denied entry into the country. This right is protected by the Constitution and upheld by decades of legal precedent. But in recent years, especially under intensified enforcement practices, that right has been violated, often through bureaucratic overreach, racial profiling, or just plain error. Here are just a few of the many, many documented cases of U.S. citizens wrongly detained, interrogated, or nearly deported by federal authorities. Jose Hermosillo, detained for 10 days despite being a U.S. citizen with disabilities. Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, born in Georgia, arrested during a traffic stop in Florida. Leonardo Garcia Venegas, U.S.-born, detained during a workplace raid. Julio Noriega, arrested in Chicago, released only after ID check. Jency Machado, wrongly detained due to a mistaken identity. 15 indigenous individuals have been questioned in Arizona and New Mexico. And Puerto Rican veteran briefly detained in New Jersey during an ICE raid. These are not isolated events. They are symptoms of a system that has blurred the lines between border control and civil rights violations. Tourism brought $2.6 trillion to the U.S. economy in 2023. Millions of jobs depend on it. But thanks to fear and chaos at the border, that's changing fast. And even foreign governments are starting to push back. Here's what they're telling their citizens.
And some countries have updated travel advisories to the U.S., with Germany emphasizing to its citizens that a visa or entry waiver will not guarantee entry. And even the UK recently added a warning to its travel advisory, saying that anyone found breaking US entry rules could face arrest or detention.
Well, Australians heading to the United States are being warned to be on high alert when they arrive at the airport, with immigration officials cracking down under the Trump administration. A former police officer from Padstow Heights says she was treated like a criminal. She had a valid tourist visa but was jailed and then deported.
Well, several countries are now warning their citizens and residents about traveling to the U.S. Canada, Britain, Germany, Finland, Denmark are among the countries who have updated their travel advisories.
Canada. Document all interactions with U.S. authorities. China. Avoid travel due to risk of arbitrary detention. France. Prepare for invasive screening and secondary questioning. Russia. U.S. no longer safe for Russian nationals. Profiling is back in full force. The most targeted travelers include people of color, Muslims, LGBTQ plus travelers, individuals with tattoos, dual citizens, journalists, legal asylum seekers, and spouses of immigrants. You don't have to do anything wrong. You just have to look like someone they don't want. But if you're looking for a beautiful, welcoming, and safe destination in North America, go to Canada. Canada welcomes the world.
Good day, welcome to the Great White North.
If you're a traveler, choose another destination. And if you're American, contact your elected officials and demand oversight, demand accountability. Let's be clear, these enforcement actions are not protecting the country. They're punishing the innocent. Tourists, legal residents, even U.S. citizens are being swept up in a dragnet of suspicion, profiling, and unchecked authority. The United States cannot claim to be a welcoming nation while deporting allies, detaining citizens, and humiliating visitors. And until these policies change, please don't visit the United States. Don't risk it. ICE isn't just targeting criminals. They're targeting tourists. They're targeting citizens. They could target you. Do not travel to the U.S. Please subscribe for updates, comment with your story, and most of all, stay safe.